Now, a practical practice that I found helpful, and when I say practice, I don't mean habit, I don't mean unconscious, I don't mean compulsive, but it's automatic. At the same time, it's a habit. It's it's something that you're very aware of while you're doing, but it's something that you do every day. Now, upon waking, one of my favorite sayings is conquer the morning and conquer the day. So, one of the things that I like to do is rub my hands together vigorously. Maybe say the Lord's name however your favorite number of times. And then whatever the name is for you. It could be Rama, it could be Krishna, Shiva, Jesus, could be anything. Uh, whatever the name, say it a certain number of times. Give thanks, give gratitude. Uh, another day, and rub your hands together vigorously. Feel the energy. Concentrate in your hands while you're rubbing them. And then place them upon your eyes. And you'll notice that you'll feel that electricity, the energy. And your fingers will like bounce on your eyes. And you can affirm then, Lord, everything that I see today, everything that I come into contact with, everything that is in the field of my attention, your light, is seen as an expression of you, your powerful energy, as expressing through me and everything around me, to and through me. And as you do this, eyes a little foggy. Day in and day out, you'll notice that it actually has a powerful impact. Just a few moments of setting that intent. Like I said, conquer the morning, conquer the day. So those few moments of gratitude can really catapult you off to a beautiful day full of synchronicity, full of blessings, full of surprises, and full of presence. Now, I mention this because I noticed that when I rub my hands together recently, I do that before I eat food as well, personally. Something I like to do, not only taste the food, smell it, if nobody else is present, hear it while you're eating, chewing, but also feel it. Incorporate the whole five sensory experience while you're eating. And one of my favorite sayings is every single bite is transmuted into light. When you're eating, perhaps, set the intention before you eat. Say your blessing. Thank you for this food, Lord. Every single bite transmuted into light. And if you're eating with a fork or a spoon, you're not eating finger food, then set the fork or spoon down in between each bite. Consciously, mindfully eat. I like to give some attention to each morsel of food before I ingest it, before it goes into the bodily temple. And just that simple practice of mindfulness can really transform the whole day. In those few moments in the morning and while you're eating, one of the things I like to say is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So your mindfulness with this is going to translate to your mindfulness with that. It's all integrated, all intertwined. So recently I was rubbing my hands together, and I placed them on the head with the eyes closed and concentrated on the fingertips. And after a few seconds, I noticed that the fingers were communicating to themselves. And they were doing the same thing. They were bouncing. It is feeling that energy between the fingertips and the head. Your hands are very powerful. I don't know if you've seen the show Dragon Ball Z. It was one of my favorite shows as a kid. But their hands were a focal point in the show. Whether it be kind of like Spidey shooting webs out through the hands, or shooting fireballs, or whatever it may be. But hands are a powerful, you could say, expression of energy. So when we not only understand this consciously, but apply it, maybe one of the practices in Chinese medicine, Tibetan, is to give yourself a chi bath. Rub your hands together, give yourself a nice chi bath, wake the body up. You want to think in terms of energy. As I look around me, the beautiful dance of the cosmos, the outer cosmos, with the eyes open, and then, of course, the eyes closed, you can simultaneously feel the inner cosmos while listening to the birds in the background, the creek in the background, the sound. And feel that sense of wholeness as this energy is dancing within you and in everything around you. Yesterday was a new moon. I like to set alerts in my phone just to set the reminder. Although it's good to look up in the night sky and, wow, see, it's actually a full moon. Of course, if there's not clouds in the sky. But you feel the energy. You feel the energetic difference when there's a heightened sense of sensitivity in the system. And I mention this because, it's pretty obvious. Some people, maybe they'll not necessarily understand the extent of the significance. I mentioned it to various people and kind of just say, whatever. But really, when you feel that sensitivity, you'll notice that energetic difference. It's everything's in alignment. Our physical system is an extension and expression of the Mother Earth, which is part of the solar system and a part of the Milky Way, and a part of the unfathomable space. Hey, I said it right that time. Unfathomable. Last video, I was like, blah, blah, blah. Say that one 10 times fast. Unfathomable, unfathomable, unfathomable. But our human system's connected to the world around us, not just the earth, but, the larger cosmos, we could say. Our physical birth is a consequence of our mother's body being in alignment with the lunar cycle. That feminine dimension. Gotta love it. Sometimes words don't do justice. I'm trying to speak from a place of presence so that I can somehow show the difference between a planned video or something that was rehearsed or merely intellectual. Somebody commented on here recently saying something about the silence in between the words, it not being clear what I'm saying. That's okay. It may not be meant for everybody, but those who are meant to see it will. I have faith in that. I'm confident in that. Certainly not trying to promote myself or market myself. What is myself? Who is this I that decides? It's an important question to ask. When you do, who's there to answer? What answers, rather than who? I like to think of myself as a what. Now, who am I? What am I? What is everything around me? As I look at this, yes, I can call it a house. But the word is simply pointing to something which is really, we don't know it. What science, even today, with all of our advancement in technology, we don't know a single atom in its entirety. What is it? Yes, we can call it an atom. Yes, we can dissect it, break it up, split it apart, analyze it, put it under a microscope, try to intellectually understand it. That's great. Enlightenment is not denying perception and negating its existence, saying that it's completely illusory, because it's not. It's a useful human faculty. But at the same time, we could say that enlightenment is understanding that perception in itself, the belief that perception is truth, is illusory, at least partly. I said in the last video, meaning is existence. Meaning is essence, to a certain extent, from a certain viewpoint. But at a certain point, at a certain, we could say, level of consciousness, we realize that perception in and of itself is not necessarily truth. You can try to listen to truth, you can watch YouTube videos, and that can help guide us on our journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance and blissfulness and living in presence. However, you really want to understand this, that truth is really a space of inner silence and stillness that allows us to live in that presence. This presence. What's the difference between this and that? As a matter of fact, there is none, fundamentally speaking. Although perceptually, we may see the world as split up. But when your attention is whole and complete, your awareness is full on. There's not a tendency to break things up. Everything is just very clearly a part of the same whole. And when you give your attention to the collective whole of life, it gives you a great sense of joy and happiness and thankfulness. Wow, I exist. This is beautiful. So spontaneous. Everything just happening. The cars driving by. Can't predict that. Can't. That's a great word to kind of consciously observe. Whether yourself or other people saying. Words are an expression of somebody's state of consciousness. I just mentioned the word awareness. And where the intellect comes into play is discrimination. There's that element of discernment, a scrutinizing awareness, which enables us to filter out, or like I said in the last video, reject certain incoming information or vibrations or data that is not in alignment with not only our conception of self, our highest self, our best version, what we want to manifest in the world, create and see and bring forth to benefit others, but also now the flies are at me again, and they distracted me, and I lost my train of thought process. My train of thought process. I don't own the thoughts. They're spontaneous. They come and go. They're temporary. They can't necessarily be the fundamental truth because they're temporary, right? What is the constant? The space from which the thoughts emerge. That's the constant. Anyways, I think that's all. God bless, guys. Have a ball. After all, I found this big, whole, complete Earth circle of life. It's beautiful. You're beautiful. You're complete. You're right where you need to be. Eternally. It's good not to take life so seriously. But it can be. It depends. That's really the answer. It always depends. It's good to be open-minded. Open-hearted. Think in terms of the energy centers. You know, your root, sacral, and solar plexus. And the heart is the fourth energy center up. We got the 3 at the top. And the heart is, we could say, the center, the nexus to our soul awareness. It's the central point that allows the physical system to function. Allows us to feel, sense that sense of connectedness, that sense of wholeness and completeness. Hence, open-heartedness is simply is. It's that space of silence. It's a continuation of the last video. Fasting can really help us get into that space. Fasting the heart. Kind of being aware of our outward tendencies and outward sensory testimony that we may want to indulge in and not shun ourselves for it. There need be no moralistic aversion towards our basic human drives. But it's good to be aware of them. And, you know, we'll notice if we fast, when we fast, not if, that it allows you to really be in that space of silence perpetually, even amidst activity, whatever you may be doing. It's a place of peace, a place of poise. It's a place where you really feel your essence, where you come to know it and be one with it. And thus, the energetic essence as it is expressed all around you, the self-same essence, which is inherent to all. Something I was writing about is the soul. The difference between the word spirit and soul. Oftentimes, people confuse them. And soul refers to your individual organism, the human system, your energy body, in this particular form, in this existence, this life, this one you call yourself. That's the soul, the individual expression. But the spirit is the foundation of the soul. The self-same spirit is intrinsic to all, even though we're individual expressions of the same spirit. We could even say the same mind, the universal mind, the same intelligence. We're fundamentally that constant, the spirit, presence, the essence that is intrinsic within all of us, the same essence. But of course, variety is the spice of life, so we're expressed as this spontaneous individual part, we could say. A little part may stimulate the idea or the concept of difference. Nobody can deny this, that we're all unique in a sense. Unique need not mean special, though. Unique could be like a snowflake. Every snowflake is unique, but they all come from the same sky. They all come expressed as that same white light. A spirit can capture a soul. Now, fundamentally, there's only the great white light as it expresses in all. But there may not be so great spirits either. So it's good to be conscious. Like I was saying, that scrutinizing awareness, to be aware of incoming data, incoming information, vibrations that may not be optimal for you, for your soul. And that's for you to decide. But who is you? Who is I? I can't answer that for you. Don't listen to me. Something you got to go within. Time to turn inward.